I do watch the news often. Not only that, my dad has actually worked for network news for over 30 years. He worked for CBS. He works for ABC now. So the news is a constant part of our family life. He, as his job, needs to be aware of it. So we watch it all the time, and we're quite conscious of it.
They kind of told us that there was going to be a big one, but we didn't think it was going to be this big. I think there was
Yeah.
because the biggest thing wasn't the earthquake; it was a tsunami. Because Japan's ready for earthquakes, we're used to
Yeah.
it, but tsunamis we weren't ready for that. I think my friend texted me in the middle of the night, and then we found out in the morning. Our whole family found out in the morning.
Yeah, I found out when I went to school and everybody like asked me like, "How's your family?" and stuff, and I'm like, "Wait, what is it happening?"
I didn't actively follow it in the way that I checked up to see what the latest news was, but I didn't really have to, I felt, because it was on the news constantly anyway. It's kind of no matter where I looked, I'd find some news about it. So in that way, I was conscious of it. How I learned about the tsunami actually itself kind of sheds light on how the news is these days, because I was actually on an online discussion forum basically when someone just made a post that said, look what's happening in Japan. And it was through there and just kind of like random snippets online at first that I started to piece together that there was an earthquake and that it was a major deal. So that's kind of how I learned about it first, rather than through some breaking news headline from some website or TV. After that, I saw updates on TimeMagazine.com or on ABC is usually the station that we watch.
From school,
Well, school, parents,
newspaper, TV,
because the Japanese news was on TV, I think for a
the
few
whole
days,
time.
24/7.
Well, the news had no shortage of video clips of these massive waves washing away cars and buildings and fields, and because of that, obviously there were some striking images, and it was easy, I guess, to assume that that was just kind of what was going on everywhere.
Well, it portrayed it like the same, but like the pictures and the movies were like was a little bit different than like the Japanese ones. Like the American, they used like really common ones, and they didn't really give like information that is like far from. So like they only gave like where it really hit the most. So we wanted a different. Um,
Like most
different
Americans think it was
yeah.
really, really bad, but it was really bad in some places, but not
Yeah, some
everything.
places,
So
not
most
every
people
place.
think like the whole country's destroyed, but it's not. So.
Yeah.
The way that they were portraying it on the news, it was quite obvious that this wasn't just any ordinary earthquake or wasn't just any ordinary tsunami. How often it was broadcast, the fact that this was the main story and it took up so much time on the air, it was quite obvious that it was more than just an ordinary tsunami and earthquake.
They played the same thing over and over again, so it just made it sound like that it was a disaster stuff. It was, but
It
not
was, but
as
like,
bad
yeah.
as most people think.
Japan as a country, it's difficult for me to say. I don't imagine, I mean, I'm quite certain that it's not actually, because I mean, just for all of Japan to be leveled by a tsunami or an earthquake or some combination like that would just be so tremendous that it would be. I feel like if all of Japan were a wasteland, then I would know about it. So the fact that that's not in the news tells me that all of Japan isn't like that. And that's basically what I figured anyway. It's just hard to picture what the devastation would be like without having an understanding of Japan, especially like visiting there. I did not picture some huge barren carnage in which there was no standing building. I understood that it wasn't quite that severe.
I got into college in Japan, so I'm moving during the summer in a few months. I feel like a lot of Japanese people now we actually want to go there to volunteer and stuff more than ever. So it's bad, but we all know it's gonna get better soon. So.